I'm Lindy Elkins-Tanton, and I'm a planetary scientist and the lead of the NASA Psyche mission to a deep space asteroid. And I'm also vice president at Arizona State University, leading an initiative about interplanetary social structures. How are humans going to interact in our future? Yes, this is the NASA Psyche mission. We launched out of Kennedy Space Center in Florida on Friday, October 13th, a lucky day of 2023. And our spacecraft is now on its way out to an asteroid further out than Mars, often closer to Jupiter than to the Earth. This asteroid named Psyche. So we named the mission after the asteroid. And we think this asteroid has largely a metal surface. So it'll be the first metal object that humans have ever investigated. And we do not even have a photograph of its surface right now. So it's really fresh exploration. I moved to Florida in mid-September to spend about a month with the team, going to the last reviews, checking on the rocket, being there, experiencing things I would never have another chance to experience. And then just 2 weeks before launch, a couple of engineers at Jet Propulsion Laboratory thought to themselves, I don't really like this data that we got from one of our parts manufacturers. I think maybe it's not right. So let me just get out the spare parts and test them. So the parts in question are thrusters, not the ones that move the whole spacecraft through space, but little ones that turn the spacecraft so that it could face to Earth with the radio antenna, for example. Very, very important. Turns out they wouldn't have worked at all if we'd launched them like that. So thank goodness those guys thought to check. But then we had almost no time to fix it. And oh my gosh, the teamwork was incredible. 24 hours a day, 3 shifts. I'm on phone calls and Zoom calls at 2 o'clock in the morning with 70 people. And the engineers figured out a way to fix the thrusters. And we ran 10,000 computer simulations of our mission to see whether they would work with the thrusters in the way that we would now have it. And we thought it would work. But here's what had to happen. Right after launch, when the rocket, it's actually 62 minutes after launch, when the rocket releases the spacecraft then all by itself has to use those little thrusters to turn toward the sun, unfold its solar panels, get power from the sun, and then turn back to the Earth and get in radio contact. So imagine how nervous we were 62 minutes after launch. We see from the camera on the rocket, our spacecraft's been released. What is going to happen next? Now, I've been working on this project for 12 years. And so in that moment, we could have lost everything, but everything worked perfectly. Right now, I am so happy to tell you the spacecraft is very healthy. And in space terms, we say nominal. Nominal means working exactly as planned. So it's a different use of the word nominal. It means perfect. And so we're just finishing up our initial checkout, which is about 110 or 120 days of testing every subsystem separately to make sure they all work perfectly before we chain them together in sequences of commands and let the spacecraft alone for a week or more at a time without radio communications. So we'll start that part, which is the official cruise out to the asteroid. We'll start later on in January. Our spacecraft is going to arrive at the asteroid and go into orbit around the asteroid in 2029. So it is 5 years away. And so we just have to wait for a little while. We're going to make it. And through that waiting period, it's going to go faster than we expect. Now, about within the last year of approach, we'll be taking pictures with our cameras facing forward toward the asteroid. And first, it'll just look like a star, like a speck of light, and then it'll come closer, we'll come closer and closer to it, and it'll begin to look like a sphere, and then we'll begin to see features. I'm very excited about that. And we've already written the software so that the images from the spacecraft are going to be streamed onto the internet within a half hour of our getting them from the Deep Space Network, the giant radio antennas that NASA uses to communicate with the spacecraft. Within a half hour, they're going to be out on the internet so we can all look at them at once. And I feel like that is what space exploration is all about, sharing with all of humanity and helping us to feel inspired about what we can do when we get in big, successful teams. It really is the teamwork. It's what humans can do when we're all working toward a goal together. I mean, think about this. A spacecraft is so complicated that no single person understands how it all works. But if we work together successfully, we make something that can do its stuff in space for a decade or more with no repair. It's just amazing what people can do when they set their minds to it. So think about being able to fix all the things we need to fix here on Earth if we get into big directed teams. That's very inspiring to me.